An eye or fountain, Ayin. For this letter, we will employ a bit of fantasy, a daydream as it were. We will use methodology that is commonly used today to identify patterns in what seems like random shapes. This methodology we will discuss in more detail at a later time. Let's now engage in a bit of fiction. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you could rewind time and become a small child again? Yes, I know this is not possible, but it is possible in our imaginations. What would it be like if you could maintain your intellect and go back to the grade where you first learned the alphabet? Imagine sitting with other children, looking up at letters on the wall, trying to trace out a circle, a letter O. It is really hard to make it round. You see, some kids next to you have no problem, while others are struggling, and a few don't care and just want to go play with the toys on the carpet. Wait, what would happen if you accidentally went too far back in time? Not just back to kindergarten, but way back. Back to the time of Daniel in Babylon. You observe a scribe explaining the new shape of the letter. It is not an O, but they call it an Ayin, which means I. But before you have time to talk with the scribe, you are snatched back in time even further. The recognizable classroom with letters printed on the walls and on paper are nowhere to be found. It is now quite dark. How can we learn letters in the dark? You find yourself sitting on the earth with several other children your age. You sense how excited you are and the other kids. Everything feels new and exciting. Your parents have allowed you to stay up late. They allowed you to stay up past bedtime to learn locations of stars by picking out familiar shapes. Our attention is being directed to a beautiful band of stars in the night sky, swirling like clouds, wisps of white and blue, bands of browny red and black. You are asked, can you see the Ayin? Ayin in your language is the word for eye. So they are asking, can you see an eye shape? The elders are trying to instill in this generation of children that Ayin means fountain as well as eye. An eye that cries is like a fountain. The sound Ayin makes is a guttural stop in your throat. You recognize the sound, or rather lack of sound, that a child makes in mid-cry, as they run out of air for a brief moment. Some of the children you are sitting with have already succumbed to making this sound, as they are too tired to stay up this late. When asked to find the shape in the night sky, they become angry, then sad. Mums swoop in the midst of the children to scoop up those who weep and whisk them home to bed so as not to disturb the others. But you are determined to stay up late, determined to find the shapes that are being described to you, even if it takes all night. The man teaching us is pointing up at the band of stars. His pointer finger is only good from his point of view, looking out his eyes over top of his finger. His pointy finger turns out to be useless for your eyes and in your head, so you must listen to more details. The man goes on to explain the eye is part of a face, one side light and the other side is hidden in the shadows. Below the eye is a nose, and below the nose a slightly distorted mouth. To the right of the mouth and nose, two small white clouds, like a warm breath of air on a cool night. You concentrate on the details in order to find the eye, or the letter Ayin. You have seen thousands of faces in your life, so it should be easy to recognize eyes, nose, and mouth, even if it's just half a face. Then your mind recognizes the shape. The shape of the letter Ayin is found in the dark nebula here. You are excited to see what the elders have been trying to pass down to your generation. The context of the nebula shape confirms the traditional meaning of eye. You know the elders have more to tell you about shapes seen in the nebula clouds. You wonder if thousands of generations from now, if your distant grandchildren may see and understand. Who knows if these things will be preserved or corrupted and lost? The elders explain how the shape of the letter in the nebula can be transferred along the horizon to a set of stars, transferred to a constellation on the path of the sun and moon, used as markers to help track the passage of time. They also have a stern warning not to be tempted to worship the stars. Sadly, this warning would not be heeded by some. The lesson is over for tonight. Your mom scoops you up and takes you home to bed. In bed, your mind returns from being a child back to your older self. I find it hard to get to sleep. Meditating on the acrostic scriptures and realizing that for this letter the meaning was preserved. Countless generations of scribes succeeded preserving the traditional meaning, passing it from generation to generation, hidden in plain sight. To get to sleep, you meditate on a few acrostic scriptures. Acrostics that start with Ayin, understanding that the alphabet is a far more advanced tool than most realize. Psalm 25 reads, "My eyes are ever towards the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet out of the net." Psalm 34, "The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry." Psalm 119, "My eyes have been consumed for thy salvation, and for the saying of thy righteousness." Psalm 145, "The eyes of all unto thee do look, and thou art giving to them their food in its season." Was this ancient Ayin lost with the destructions of Jerusalem? Did the confusion of the language of the Tower of Babel continue through the time of Babylon? Was it in Babylon where these secret symbols used to write the scriptures were replaced? Thousands of years later, the sadness seen in the Ayin is once again felt through those lamentations. My Ayin is poured out, and thou doth not cease without intermission, till the Lord looketh and seeth from heavens. My Ayin afflicted my soul, because of all the daughters of my city. In In the next chapter, we will take one step back and look at the letter Samek. A wanderer has hidden a clue in the chart. In this eye, retrograde doth move.